Hello, investors. It is Ted Zhang, Associate Portfolio Manager with Revere Asset Management. Today is Wednesday, November 20th, 4:58 p.m., coming to you from Fort Lauderdale with tonight's Revere Roundup Daily Market Insight video. State of the market, we got an uptrend. We have the four coveted green arrows on the GROTECTION gauge. Market leaders are acting healthy, actually better than indexes. Short term above the 21 EMA, and we continue to hold that. Medium term all above the 50-day, and long term still all above the 200-day moving averages. So what happened today? Markets shake off more war news, and Bitcoin new all-time highs. 21 over 21 list up 0.41%, 7 up, 4 sideways, and 10 down. Big 8 down 0.25%, RG8 about flat, up 0.11%, S&P literally flat, equal weighted RSP up 0.34%, Qs pretty much flat, down 0.06%, QQEW down 0.4%, and you'll see that the equal weighted indexes, mid caps, Dow are acting better because the big 8 definitely dragging the indexes a bit lower today. Dow up 0.29%, mid caps up 0.52%, small caps Russell about flat, down 0.01%. Global 60/40 equities bonds about flat as well, down 0.04%, and GROTECTION up 0.34%. And although we're flat on many indexes, it's definitely a great sign because we started off negative off more Russia-Ukraine war news, and we found support and closed really well. And so let's jump right into the charts, starting off with S&P 500 as usual. As you can see on this gap down, 1114, we pretty much held the 21 EMA, and these next 3 days, we found support at the 21 and closed high of the day and closed well. Really tight days. We still do have an island reversal off the top. We're breaking through the 8 EMA and these highs of about 59.20. It'll appear that this uptrend is still intact, and we'll get another try at the 6,000 level. RSP, similar action, undercut, reclaim the 21, looking to get back above the 8 EMA now. This just still looks like an uptrend. High volume on up days, pull back on contracting volume, and that's what you want to see. Qs, similar action to S&P, continues to get support at the 21 EMA, reclaim 500 level, but still below that left side peak. Similar action here. It really depends on Nvidia, and we actually had the Nvidia report. It's down a slight bit last time I checked, but we will review that later on in this video, and I'll give a little brief synopsis of earnings. The conference call starting just now, so we're unable to get you that data yet, but we could definitely talk about it over the weekend or on the Friday video or future videos. QQEW, equal weight, close green and above the 21 EMA. It's really good action building this range here. If we get a wedge pop above, this rally probably continues. The Dow finding support at 21 EMA as well. Uptrend looks alive and well. Just a brief pullback so far. Mid cap, similar action. Undercut, reclaim the 21 EMA yesterday. Same thing today, held 3,200. And this looks like a perfect breakout retest so far. As you can see, this line right here, undercut, reclaim that, and we're heading higher so far. Russell, same thing, undercut, reclaim 2,300, and just building this U-turn type pattern. Above the 8 EMA, we can try for 2,400 again. VIX elevated a bit today off the war news, up about 6.5%, and then Nvidia earnings after the bell, which actually came out, and not a big upside or big downside after hours, which is honestly the best of all worlds. Mute reactions sometimes on these big mega cap stocks that could severely impact the market. It actually could be favorable. Dollar was up today, looking to break out of this flag with yields up. Gold rallying back into the 50-day, which is still uptrending. As you can see, the selling was on large volume. The rally is on contracting volume. That's exactly the opposite of what we want to see in uptrend. So we'll really have to see what happens here. This could easily fail here at the 50 and 21 and continue resuming its downtrend. You can see the RS line is lagging. and ours rating has dropped significantly as well. Gold miners, along with gold, weak, hasn't even gotten back to the 50-day. Same thing, a lot of distribution. These rallies off the lows have been lower volume than the distribution. That's not a great sign right now. Silver, forming a bear flag actually. This rally has been on contracting volume, and that doesn't look good. RS line's lagging. It looks like a trip to the 200-day is likely coming. On to Bitcoin and bonds. Really just trading at an all-time high right now. Going on a 65-minute chart. We did have some trouble breaking through 95K today. We kept retesting this previous week's high level, but we are holding now, and we're trading above yesterday's highs as well. And we're about 2 hours away from an all-time high close. This is forming a flag on the 65-minute, and this looks great for higher. If we break this 95K, I would expect us to have a swift move to 100,000. Onto bonds. Yields were pretty much flat today. The last time I checked, they were a bit up, but actually the new day opened. So they were up yesterday, and bonds were slightly down yesterday. So that's really all I have to say about bonds, inter-asset correlation. We'll head over now to the tail of the tape. VIX 17.18, up 5% today. Fear and greed picked up 1 to neutral. We're still operating under the bull case. We initiated, rallied, and trended above the 21 EMA. News, more Russian-Ukraine tension happened today, but the markets responded well. That's precisely what you want to see. Bad news, but a strong reaction and close to the upside. We had Nvidia earnings report after hours. They beat both top and bottom line, which means they beat both revenues and earnings. Data center revenue is about 30 billion, which is absurd. Just amazing revenue, but we are starting to see some deceleration. So that is my first chart of interest, Nvidia. And as you can see, let's go to the weekly. We had these weak quarters up here, and then we had the acceleration of earnings, which started at 440%. Then it maintained that for 3 other quarters, 567%, 478%, 455%. Now you get a 152% because of harder comparables. Because now you're comparing this July quarter to the previous year's July quarter, which is when earnings started accelerating. So you're starting to see a deceleration in earnings, and the future estimates follow that trend as well because of harder comparables. Revenues, same thing, harder comparables. We're comparing to last year's July, and we're still seeing triple-digit growth in both, but it is definitely decelerating. And with an earnings maturation cycle, once you start seeing the loss of earnings momentum, eventually you'll get a negative surprise, and that will usually top a stock and cause the start of a new stage 4 downtrend. Of course, right now, right here, you see after hours is pretty much trading about flat at 145. That's actually a great thing. It's going to lead to huge premium crush in all options that we're pricing at a 10% move. And we're not going to see a massive gap down tomorrow in the indexes. So we'll see what Jensen Huang and Nvidia's team says on the call, which oftentimes can really lead to dramatic and big moves. And that's probably taking place right now. A little tidbit, actually. Perplexity added a feature, and you can search on Nvidia or just click right here, view earnings, and Perplexity is just amazing. You can see what's happening. Its stock performance, reported earnings today, revenues, estimates 32.9 billion. Talked about earnings as well, beat by 8 cents. You can talk about an implied move, and literally there's real-time earnings transcript. Look how amazing this is. And it's just delivering it to us right now. And now it's adding key insights as well. This is just amazing. And it gives you some key news too, what's happening. Nvidia breaks record high. And then you go here, you go to this peers, compare like the balance sheet as well. Go to this peers, how it's related to AMD and other stocks. Shows its balance sheet. Go view more. This is just extraordinary stuff from Perplexity. File the income statement, of course, the 3 financial statements. See this acceleration. in revenue growth. You can look at the quarters as well, the last few quarters. I mean, it's unbelievable what Perplexity can do. And it gets deep, deep into it as well. And finally, the cash flow statement. So just an extra bit right there in the video. And we'll continue on. It's significant news. So back to the tail of the tape. We've deemed this 4 days consolidation sideways, 4 days below the 8 EMA, 3 days below the 21 EMA. Strong sectors today. Bond yields were up, dollar is up. Healthcare, energy, builders, Bitcoin, China, oil, and gas. Sectors that were down, bond prices are down, uranium, RK, stocks. What we did today, we trimmed MSTR to this strength, which I'll talk about next, and added Bros, RVAB 1.77. And the bottom line is markets shake off more war news, Bitcoin new highs. Continue on. What happened here? Let's go here. MicroStrategies. We trimmed this because this is the second gap up on huge volume. And this is actually the highest volumes in this entire base, highest volume in 1 year, potentially ever. At one point, it's up 15% of the day. We had a failed breakout above 500 so far, closed relatively weak. You can see after hours, it's starting to squeeze already, up 13 points. So we'll see what happens there. But I thought this is a great place to take a bit off. The risk reward is definitely skewed to the downside now, but we'll see. Stocks can go up far higher than we can imagine, which is why we use various moving averages to trail our positions. Bros is another one we added to over 50, and that's made quite a nice move out of this post earnings gap flag, an elevated volume as well. And this itself may actually finally turn into a stage 2 uptrend, which it has. See this earnings acceleration is increasing. Let's see this stock enter its own growth cycle. Bitcoin we already talked about, so I'm not going to talk about again, but continues to make a new all-time high. Tesla is one I want to talk about. It's a perfect high tight flag here. Huge focus for us tomorrow. You see huge volume on the earnings day, contracting volume on the pullback to the lows of the earnings day. Then you see massive volume on this uptrend and now contracting volume as this flag forms. So over 350, you can put on full size right there. Coin is a Bitcoin name that was disappointing today, had a failed breakout, a lot of volatility. This is still not ready yet. It's definitely lagging relative to MicroStrategies. It's not tracking Bitcoin well like an IBIT. So this maybe perhaps needs some tightening, and then we could try to take out those highs. See that volume coming in. So there's definitely still supply. There's a couple fintech names I'm watching. Our firm continues to make new 52-week highs out of this huge primary base. Earnings are accelerating. That looks great, albeit still negative earnings, but revenue is accelerating quickly at mid double digits. So that's definitely looking great. And finally, Square is another one that's back in this base, but this is the stage 2 breakout, and looks like we probably will get a close at new 52-week highs, which is definitely a great thing to see in this fintech sector. Recent earnings were 76% year over year. Revenue growth, though, is still a bit slow at 6%. Finally, let's go over top 5 names in the 21 over 21 list, and then top 5 losers. MSTR, I've talked about this. Starting to see some climactic action, highest volume in 1 year or ever. So we're having this on focus for climactic action, especially if Bitcoin gets running. MSTR could see a huge blow off top. So we're definitely having that in the back of our minds, trillion moving averages, and being ready for the opposite side of the trade. Bros I talked about, so I'm not going to review it again, but just great breakout out of this flag. A-Lab, another one we own. Back above left side peak, over 100 is definitely an area that you can add or a buy. This semis name looks great. It's gapping up 1.5% now. Assuming that's on Nvidia, let's check up on that again. Nvidia is still flat, but with the weight of with uncertainty in the biggest semis name out of the way, clearly some investors are happy about that. So this could be on focus as well. Twilio, just amazing out of the stage 1 base with 76% earnings growth. It just has been floating higher. You see, you got the ANT indicator, which indicates institutions are heavily accumulating this name. So definitely watch this for continuation setups in the future. On the downside, SMR, nuclear theme. This is just a super choppy name. You can see up and down and up and down and up and down. It's just very hard to hold, but still acting perfectly above the 8 EMA. BRT, just a normal pullback, nothing too much there. Carvana, just a honestly normal day back to the EMA. Dell, still above the 21 EMA, back below the 8, but still normal action. Earnings in 6 days. Palantir, really just an inside day above the 8 EMA. It's starting to flag after this huge earnings gap move. And that is always a great sign when your top 5 losing names in the 21 over 21 leaders list is still above their 8 EMAs. Nothing's breaking the 21 really decisively right now. And we're seeing great action in the market leaders. This Nvidia mute action is actually pretty good. Um, of course, everyone wants to go to the upside, and then you have a lot of names capping higher. But a mute reaction, a quiet open, and then a push, that could actually be best of both worlds or all worlds. So definitely still have this on watch for potential breakout. Actually, it's trading at 145, which is pretty much where it closed. Pretty much an inside day, and over 150 is definitely a buy. Of course, the earnings and revenues are still amazing. Blackwell's going to be delivering, and they're still the most consequential name in this AI theme and market. So, yeah, with that being said, that's going to wrap up today's video. As always, I would love to hear from you at my email, ted@revereasset.com. You can follow my Twitter and contact me there as well, Ted H. Zhang. Our phone is 855-REAL-WEALTH. That is 855-732-5932. Our website is Revere Asset, and our YouTube is Revere Asset. If you're interested in becoming a client, please reach out, and we would love to take care of you. That said, I'll wrap it up for today, Wednesday, November 20th. It is now 5:15 p.m. This is Ted Zhang with Revere Asset Management, telling it like it is. Thank you for listening, and have a great rest of your week.